Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel. You already know what it is if you've already tuned in. We got our co-host here and our I guess designated guest host who's going to be here for the next couple of weeks. Nano, say hi if you want to.
Yes, sir, man. Back with another video with the homie Sammy. We got a nice one for you guys today, and I'm pretty excited to talk about this, man. It's gonna be a crazy recap, so I can't wait.
Yeah, I had to kind of hold Nano back from spilling the beans because he's been excited to talk about every race. But yeah, I got him ready to go at any moment now. We're not even going to go into like our normal introduction of us just talking about our day. We're just gonna get straight into the content so you guys can get uh, your feel on Disney Speedstorm and the World Cup from start to finish. So up first, our first topic is the first race of the week. So in week one, we had the United States and North America, which, if you didn't know, was pretty much USA Civil War, because because both teams consisted of players from pretty much the United States, except for I think you said Falcon, right?
Falcon and I believe Toxic Zap because he's from one of the Caribbean islands.
Okay, yeah. So apart from that, it was like I don't know about 14 races that were from the United States in totals, which is kind of crazy. So the first one, obviously, Nano, our guest host here, was in that race. So I'm gonna let Nano go ahead and talk about this race here.
All right, so where do we begin? Obviously, with it being the first matchup of the World Cup, emotions were high. I know a lot of people were anxious, nervous. Um, at least from what the other team told me, I know they were pretty nervous about everything, and our team, we was pretty anxious ourselves. We were excited. I feel like we were more excited than nervous. Like we was like ready to go. I'm not gonna lie. Like you know, we was just ready to put in work, but we definitely knew we were gonna be in for one. Like it could have went either way since the other team was so stacked. So, um, but yeah, man. I guess to start off, if we're looking at the bands, we just decided to, you know, ban Jumba and Genie because we just wanted to get them out of there. And it looks like the other team kind of had the same thought process. They banned Genie as well, and they actually banned Baloo. So, which is pretty interesting because I know a lot of other teams they use Baloo, and
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if any other teams had Baloo banned because I remember seeing Baloo in like every race.
we had blue in our race as well.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much because I feel like the go-to mans is probably gonna be Jumba and Genie. But I did see some teams ban or use Genie, so
We also used Genie as well. But in terms of bans for your race, in for brawlers, you guys had Hans, Beast, Steamboat Pete, and Triton. For defenders, you guys had
hmm
Jumba, Genie, Baloo, Tricksters, Aladdin, Bo Peep, Angel, Mulan, and then for speedsters, Jasmine, Woody, and Eric.
hmm yeah. So I feel like one common thing you're gonna see throughout all of these is it seems like for the most part all of the top speedsters are gonna be banned. So Woody might slip through the cracks. Um, but yeah, Jasmine and Eric, I feel like they're pretty much done for. Like, if you're a speedster, don't expect
Any
don't
favors?
expect Yeah. So, it's the hardest role in this tournament for a reason.
Yep. And if you can score really well as a speedster, then you're doing something good for your team. Because for the most part of this tournament, I want to say speedsters are going to get shafted a lot in terms of standings.
Yeah. Which I do feel like in a way, like I feel like with how difficult speedsters are, you definitely don't want to overshadow like the speedster players because it's like easy to look at the top contributors and usually they're gonna be on like a defender or a brawler or something like that.
Yep,
So, you know, if you see a speedster putting in work, they definitely need their flowers too.
most definitely. And there's a a shout out we're gonna give later to a couple, but we'll say that for a bit. But in terms of the good in your race, what would you say was the good from both sides, Team USA and North America?
Well, shoot, like I definitely felt like okay, in terms of the good, I feel like neither team could really afford to let up. Like we were so like evenly matched in terms of like how stacked both of our teams are
Yeah, I can
that
agree.
we had, each of the races like we had to put our all into it. Um I know for USA we are just trying our hard to, consistently get our those top spots, the top 4, get as much people in there as we could. Um, me being the speedster, obviously it's gonna be hard for me to consistently get in there, but I actually got in the top 4, like I think a couple of times, so
Well,
I think that helped the team a lot.
I got the point sheet here, so we can actually see that. So we're in the wrong race here. Sorry about that. But over here, in terms of point sheets, Nano race one, I believe you were fourth place. As well
Mm-hmm.
as race number 6, you were in fourth place. So you did get into the top 4 at least twice of your races, which does help as a speedster because, like we said earlier, speedster class is going to be very underwhelming in this tournament. But if you can place even just once in the top 4 for your team, that's going to help your team a lot because speedster class is right now in the game one of the weaker classes that you can manage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was really happy when I got those 2 fourth places because I knew based on the nature of how the classes are, I wasn't going to be placing high that many times,
Yeah.
especially with the amount of top speed tracks there were and the type of talent we were going against. So if I combine, obviously, like I'm not really trying to beat my team,
Yeah.
but the other team, we were going against some strong racers. So I was I was happy to just take anything other than last, to be honest. I mean, obviously I'm trying to aim for like the highest I could get, but you know, for the most part, I feel like I set out to do what I was trying to do. I was just trying to either beat their speedster consistently and everything else. Uh, like if I beat like their brawler or trickster or whoever else, like their defender, that was just a bonus for me. So I feel like in terms of me, I feel like I did pretty good. I'm actually really happy with how I performed. Um, I know North America, they were actually really good at putting pressure on us. Um, even though one of our strongest suits for USA is like the call outs. I think a lot of people complimented us on our call outs.
Yeah,
Um, they definitely, even with the call outs, team North America, they were still able to, get us in some tight spots, and they got us with a couple good stuns. And I remember on silver screen, they uh I actually got messed up because I got stunned on the trampoline, like the net part,
yeah,
and that really like messed up my race, and I actually ended up coming in last for in that race. So I think that was my only last place, but
yeah. It's the
you
only
know,
time you came last.
yeah, I definitely wasn't like happy about that one, but I knew we still had a lot of racing left to go, so I didn't let it like stain how I felt
Yeah,
or try to make it affect uh my play. So I just had to keep my head on my shoulders, but it kind of just goes to show that no matter what's going on, man, like you always got to be prepared. Like you could be doing good, and then the other team just kind of takes you out of commission for that race.
yep,
So, you know, team Team North America definitely put the pressure on us in more than one of those races. Um, but I know our team. We was ready for whatever they were gonna throw at them because that's what we practice for. We practice a lot for the maps and our team composition, and I feel like we made the most of what we could with the races we did and the characters we decided to pick. Um, but just to show like I guess the interaction between how high level both players or both teams were. Um, in the second match, it was Toon Village, right?
yeah,
So Toon Village 3, Falcon picked Calhoun, right?
yeah,
And us having a lot of knowledge on Calhoun, we decided to put our brawler, which was Caleb Black Flash,
yeah,
we put him on Hercules.
yep,
And Hercules, him being on the map, the way how Pegasus works, it basically like destroyed Falcon's chances of maximizing off of the points
yep.
and the bug breaches. And
Because the Pegasus Trail would actually negate any of the bug breaches that pop up on the track.
yep, hmm exactly, pretty much. And I know that was really getting to him because he actually admitted it. He was like, "Man, that the Hercules pick really kind of messed me up and stuff." And it worked as planned. But see, even though that worked, um, Falcon being the player that he is, he counter adapted. So it wasn't the first time our team picked Calhoun, but the second time our team picked Calhoun, he used Hercules and did the same exact thing to us that we did to them.
Yeah,
And funnily enough, that was the match that Caleb's Calhoun didn't perform really well because the Pegasus. So, I mean, just in case people were wondering, man, Hercules is he's a madman against Calhoun, man.
yep. He
It
seems to be
I
a hard
definitely
counter.
yeah, it definitely is. But that's not to say that Calhoun can't do good if Hercules is in the race. It's just it will be a lot harder. Especially if he's in front of you. Like if he
Yep.
gets the momentum first, it's gonna be really hard to deal with the Hercules as Calhoun.
It's really whoever is out in front first, they're gonna benefit for the race. I mean, granted, Hercules, if he's right behind Calhoun, you're not safe either because that trail runs out ahead of
Yep.
Hercules. So even if you're in front of Hercules, if Hercules is just close enough and that Pegasus trail is enough to be trailing behind you, you can say goodbye to those breaches.
Yeah, man. It's if Hercules is in Calhoun's vicinity, yeah, them breaches are done for.
Yep.
And it's not even only that, like just his disc destroys the breaches too. So like
Yep.
if he's aiming the disc at people ahead and he throws the disc, it'll like if any breach it goes through, it destroys too. So Hercules got a couple stuff that could deal with the breaches. um,
What would you
but
say
yeah, that's
was I guess you
okay.
covered both the good and the bad, right? So what would you say is the truth about that race?
The truth, any team could have won. Like it was literally like a coin flip. I'm surprised. I think they would have had a if I'm being honest, I think they would have had a better chance if they had Sonic Anarchy in because I know he's probably one of their strongest players too, but I think something probably happened to where he couldn't be in the race or something like that.
Yeah.
Um but even if Sonic was in there, we were prepared for that.
Yeah.
Um so I think we still well, this is just me being confident in my team. I think we still would have performed really well. But I do know the type of player that Sonic is. He would have definitely added a lot more pressure on our team.
Well, yeah, for sure. Because if you know of a racer going into an event, you're gonna think about that racer more often because you know they could be a threat. And sometimes we may not. Sometimes we know people are a threat, and even though we know that they're a threat, we may not feel that pressure. And then there are sometimes that we know people are a threat, and because they're very overwhelming as a presence, we constantly feel that pressure. If that makes sense.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, but I mean, that's not me taking away from their team because their team was
Oh,
still
definitely not.
strong. Like everybody on their team is a force to be reckoned with. Uh, there were plenty of times where we were in the race and we'd have players like Toxic like just going crazy on us with the I know his Ursula pick he was going doing damage. He definitely that first race he definitely got first
Yes, he
with the
did.
Ursula. He got first with the Ursula. I know Ishnik was going crazy. He got a good placement with Goofy, I believe. I don't remember what map it was, if it was Toon Village. Um, but I know he's gotten a good placement with the aerial. Um,
I was surprised Ariel wasn't banned.
Shang. Yeah. I was surprised too. We thought the other team were gonna ban her, but I guess not. They probably thought that's what we were gonna do too. So I sometimes certain OP characters could slip through the cracks because of that. Like a team will hope that another team bans the character
Mm-hmm.
and try to save that pick, that ban for another character, and the other team will try to do that too. So if
That's how it be sometimes, man.
sometimes that's really how it be. But I actually like that though. It adds strategic banning, like it adds like some type of strategizing to banning characters,
It
and that's
does
one of my favorite things about tournaments.
because it's almost like, well, okay, do we ban certain OP characters that are
Hmm.
broken, or do we ban characters that we know the opposing team are good at using?
Yep. In
Even
my
though,
opinion, I
yeah,
think it should be a mixture.
it should be. For me, I think even though a
Hmm.
character could be OP, it's more detrimental to keep a character that the opposing team is good with than a character that might be OP that they probably don't even play with.
Yep. Hmm. Now, for our team, we actually banned Woody because of Sonic.
Yeah.
Because like I said in my video talking about all the players, Sonic is like tied for like best Woody with Hoodie. So
Mm-hmm.
we definitely didn't want him taking advantage on the speedster class with Woody. We definitely did
Unfortunately,
not want
that
that.
pick didn't come into fruition because, as you stated earlier, he did not race in this one, at least.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess technically in hindsight, we could have just left Woody alone and, you know, just use Woody ourselves or
That's
ban
true.
another speedster. But honestly, I'm fine with the Woody ban because I mean, who else are we gonna ban? Everybody else is slower than Woody, so
That is
I
true.
don't think it was for no reason. So I'm fine. I'm fine with the Woody ban.
Okay. So, my thoughts on the race against United States and North America. It was a very interesting race. I'll say that. At some points, North America were able to make it a close one. And I honestly thought at some points they were going to make a comeback. But
Hmm.
obviously, USA, I guess, is just a testament to either their good comms or maybe just practice a bit more. But they definitely pulled this one in the bag in the end.
Yeah,
So the final score for Team USA and Team North America was 162 to 126. And the top performer in that race was One
I
Wing
believe it was
Angel.
Angel.
Yep, with
Yep.
52 points. But not too far behind in close second was Caleb with 48 points. And as you can see
Yeah,
on
they
my
were right
screen,
there.
everyone here, this is their points total. So if you want to take a look, you can pause at any time. But we'll now be moving on to the second match of the week, which was between Europe and United Kingdom. I believe my friend here, Nano, has a lot to say about this one. So I'll let him have the floor immediately.
Man. Yeah. So when I was when we were talking about all the teams,
Yep.
I uh, y- Team Europe was instantly a team that should be on everybody's radar. Like them having Maxi on the team, he like farms points. So that's like Maxi by himself is gonna be hard to deal with. And then basically you have everybody else on the team. Like everybody else on the team is super strong. So even if Maxi wasn't on the team, this is still a top threat contender team. So, you know, unfortunately for United Kingdom, they kind of had to deal with him first. And if I'm being honest, it was by the looks of things, it was pretty hard to deal with, or it was they were struggling, and it's not even like they were like playing like bad or the team just wasn't good because I generally think United Kingdom is a strong team. It's just the opponents they were going against were just, you know, they were the Justice League, so you can't, it is not really too much you could do when you got Superman, the Flash, Batman on the team, Wonder Woman. Like, just sometimes you just got to get beat up, take your licks, learn from the experience, and just try to lick your wounds and get better for the next fight.
Yep.
Um, I will say though, has he did pretty good, man. He was definitely trying to hold the team down.
Definitely was.
I know Tyap Tyap tried his best. Um, who I think the other player was
Fluffy.
Fluffy.
Yep.
Yeah, Fluffy. Fluffy tried too. And they're all like amazing players. So don't for people who saw that match, don't make I hope they don't like look down on the players because of how the match turned out because they're all strong racers. It's just it could be some of their first times being in a tournament or
Nerves.
uh could be nerves, maybe they practice, but
Wasn't
things just
enough.
didn't turn out. Yes, sometimes that could happen.
Or sometimes, like in
They
sports, you'll have a really strong team on paper individually, but then when it come together, they don't mesh well.
That's true, and that could be something that happened. Now, I want to give United Kingdom the benefit of the doubt and say, you know, for the next match, they'll be a lot more heavily prepared, and they will be going against my team. So I'm not assuming it's gonna be like it was when they went against EU.
Definitely
I'm
not.
gonna assume they're gonna be a lot better and more prepared. So you know what that means? My team has to get a lot better and more prepared.
As you
So,
should, because
you know,
as we explained in our last conversation, Nano, after the first week, whether you win or lose, if you're in the winning position, you don't want to take your foot off the gas. However, being on the opposite of that end, if you're the team that lost first week, you kind of feel it more, right? A
yep,
lot of people might be
pressure.
looking pressure. A lot of people might be now looking down at you or down on you. Maybe people from back home now are seeing this and they're like, "Come on, you got to do better. You're representing the country." So they're looking at that loss and saying, "We got to redeem ourselves. We got to avenge
Yep.
ourselves. We can't let this happen again. We got a lot riding on us now." So they'll probably put in the extra work to uh, not really fix the loss that they took because they can't get it back. There's no rematch this year, but definitely going through the rest of this World Cup, they're going to be looking to try and get as many wins as possible now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And one thing I will say is they face one of the strongest teams. In some people's eyes, they are Europe is the strongest team. So for them, it could be like, damn, they got through like the hardest wall. I will say though, unfortunately for them, I feel like the USA is at the very least a top three team. So uh it ain't gonna be any easier. I'll say that for sure.
Wait now, you
I
said USA is top three, so are you saying Canada's number
yeah.
two?
I don't know about all that, man. Like, I don't know. Like, okay, in my personal opinion, I think team wise, the top three teams are Europe. And this is like no order,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's Europe, USA, and Benelux.
Okay.
And we will definitely see exactly why I say that, especially when we get to Benelux, when we talk about that match. But
Well, my top three differs from that. I would
mhm,
say no particular order:
mhm.
France, Europe, United States. And then fourth, obviously, you
Okay,
have us,
okay,
Team Canada, representing.
okay, okay,
But
okay.
I say this because regardless of what you might think of skill level or not, you don't often see a team. win the way that France does.
Hmm.
So I have to give
That's
them their
true, man.
flowers
That's
there,
true.
and that's to open up this World Cup. So it's almost like they were making a statement over in Group B that Canada's gonna have to answer at some point.
They, hey, I can't argue against that pick because France definitely put the hurt on Spain. But you know, we ain't get there yet, man. We
No.
ain't get there yet, man. We still on UK versus EU.
Yep.
So,
So I guess you could talk about the bad now.
well,
What were the
shoot,
bads of
I
this
mean,
race?
there's still some good stuff I want to say.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
But yeah, like I was saying, I still think uh UK still tried their best and whatnot. Um, Has he was putting in work. Fluffy was trying. Um, I said Tyap too. Tyap was putting in work.
Yep,
One thing I'm not sure if Fluffy and Tyap have have ever been in a tournament, but I know for a fact has been has been in the tournament before,
tongue
and
twister there.
he yeah the has but he so I wasn't I knew Has was gonna do good, but he was on defenders, and defenders is like, in my opinion, the strongest class. So
Yep,
you could easily say, Has was on the strongest class, so he's gonna do the best. I think he also mains defenders too, with Kristoff being one of his strongest characters. So him having a lot of familiarity with the class definitely helps a lot. You
yep.
know, him being comfortable with it and everything. So I'm not surprised why they had him on that role. Um, let's check out their bands.
Yeah,
Who
so
did they decide to ban?
let's see here. So in terms of bans for Europe, they banned defenders Jumbo and Kristoff, tricksters
Hmm.
Angel and Bo Peep, speedsters Jasmine and Olaf, and brawlers Hans and Pete. For United Kingdom, defenders they banned Jumba and Genie. So they both banned Jumba, both teams. Tricksters they banned Ursula and Aladdin. Speedsters they banned Eric and Mowgli, and for brawlers they banned Ralph and Calhoun.
Wow, thank Calhoun. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So yeah, I guess it does make sense why we didn't see Ralph in that, because usually a lot of people are using Ralph.
yeah.
Um, this is actually surprising to me.
Which is
A lot of people, a lot of teams seem to ban Steamboat Pete,
mhm,
and I understand why they would ban Steamboat Pete,
yep.
but I also don't understand why they ban Steamboat Pete, because in my opinion, unless a team is going to solely run or build a composition based on Steamboat Pete's playstyle, banning Steamboat Pete is a waste of a ban, in my opinion. Because the type of character he is, he's just too chaotic. And
That's true.
he's just gonna like mess stuff up for his team as well as the enemy team. Like,
Yeah,
I don't understand. And if you because you can't try not to hit somebody, because as a brawler, if like you want to be hitting people,
exactly.
but you don't want to be hitting your own team.
Teammates. Yeah.
But Steamboat Pete, he hits everybody. So like it just he's just counterproductive in my eyes. So
Okay, so
it just didn't really make sense to
we
me.
know in terms of the bands, race wide, it was Hans, Pete, Ralph, and Calhoun. You said it was a waste to ban Pete. So instead of banning Pete, who would you have banned in his place?
Uh, Probably Beast.
Beast. Yeah.
Yeah, cause that's a we band. Now, at least for my team, like Beast might not be as effective as a band
Yeah.
in this team or going against either of these teams. um, but I know for USA, he was a must pick band because we were going against both Falcon and Cage fan,
Yeah.
who are both really good at using Beast. We didn't know who was gonna be the brawler, so we just banned Beast because we knew it was either gonna be Cage fan or Falcon, and it actually ended up being Falcon. So we are glad that we banned Beast.
And so
So
I guess you'd be talking about the bad now, because you had a lot to say about this matchup.
yes, I did. Now I don't know what was going on, but man, my boy departed Storm, bro. If you listening to this video, this is gonna be for you, man. Now, you being the homie, I I guess this is technically for anybody who doesn't perform well. I, uh, I don't want you to. I know things might have not gone the way you like it to, especially with you being the speedster. The speedster, that's a tough class in the tournament, man. Like I know I was playing speedster, and you know, it's definitely a struggle spot because you're always gonna be in the back. You're gonna be dealing with a lot of bullshit. Everything people are throwing back at you, whether it be the enemy's team or your team, at some point you might run into a lot of things that you don't want to be running into.
Yep.
Um, it's it's definitely like playing speedster. It's definitely one of those things where like you feel like if you don't perform well, or if you were on another class, you probably would be doing way better than you're doing. And that goes without saying because the speedster is the slowest class, especially with all their top speed races being banned.
Yep.
Um, so I get it. That being said, um, I don't know. Like there were just a lot of races where it looked like the parted the parted storm was just like all the way in the back. And it was weird to me because the departed storm I know is a really strong racer. So, and me seeing him in the back, it's not just him being in the back, but there were moments in the race where like he would be like far in the back. So I don't know if he's just getting messed up so bad to the point to where
That's just he
he's
can't do
like,
much about it.
yeah. But like sometimes like I'll be looking, and this didn't happen on every race, but there were definitely some races where this happened more than once.
Yeah.
But he would be so far in the back to where it looked like somebody was using like the auto drive feature,
Yeah.
and they were just like lagging behind, or like
Or they
it was somebody that they didn't know how to chain drift, or
or they just gave up
you know
completely.
yes. And that's exactly where I was going to. I'm glad you brought that up. It felt like at some point to me he kind of lost faith in himself, and that really
Mm.
altered his play. And it seemed like it happened as like right after the first match, because I don't know, like were you watching like throughout the whole match? Wait, did you watch this match?
I didn't actually get to see this match, unfortunately.
Okay, so the very first match, I believe, departed. Depart now. Remember, Departed is on Speedster.
Yep.
The very first match, he picks Mowgli, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they start racing. Midway through the race, somebody's like, "Yo, like Mowgli's banned," and like everybody's like, "What? Like Mowgli's banned?" And then the host checked the ban list,
Yeah.
and Mowgli was banned.
Yep.
So off rip, no matter how good he was doing in that race, he got 1 point as if he got last place
Yeah.
because the character is banned. And not only was the character banned, but your own team banned the character. So it's like, so, so it's like, yo, like, did nobody like
He did not read the
check
assignment.
in or like, yeah, like where? So I'm watching, and that led me to believe, like, yo, like, what's the communication like? How's the communication going on with the team? Like,
Yeah.
you can't say. So I don't know if I could just blame the partner on this because at this point, if they're in comms,
Yeah.
okay, this is me assuming they're all in comms. If they're not, I apologize, but this is why communication is very important.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're in comms, you think people on your team would tell you that this character is banned,
Before the match
or you
even
would
starts
know
up.
that this character is, yeah, or you yourself would know that the character is banned.
Yep.
So it's I don't know how they let that happen.
Hey man,
Uh,
what I can say for myself and our team, all week I've been double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking which races were banned before our race even commenced. So I knew ahead of time which races I could use and which ones I couldn't and which ones to look out for.
mm-hmm,
And that's just like basic communication. So maybe it could be a communication thing. Like maybe they weren't using the team chat all that much. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's a hard one to let slip by.
mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And you could tell it from that point on, it felt like you know, his confidence was shot. And, he started like not performing good, especially with speedsters being the toughest class.
Yeah.
He was like kind of lagging behind. So he probably felt like he was letting the team down and stuff like that. And then you could really tell it started getting to him because he started talking in the chat. I think I believe one when Angel was hosting it.
Yeah.
And wait, was he the team? Was he hosting it? Nah, it couldn't have been Angel because I think Angel hosted the one that was on Saturday. This match happened on Thursday. So it was probably like Cedric or something. But he started talking in the chat, and he was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna like drop out or like quit and stuff like that." And you could tell his team didn't take a liking to that because
So
they were
the
kind of
the host for that
talking in
one
the chat.
was
What, it
Nalissi.
was Cedric?
Oh,
It
Nalissi.
was Nalissi. Okay,
Yeah,
well, I'm sorry. Yeah,
no problem.
Nalissi.
But sorry for
Thanks
interrupting.
for correcting me.
You're
No, you're
welcome.
good. You're good. Um, but yeah, like his team, they were talking in the chat too, like saying like, uh, yo, like you can't like, they were calling him like a quitter and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
it's, and then I'm reading and I'm like, wait, are y'all not in team chat or like, are y'all not in calls or something? Like,
Yeah.
like I just didn't understand it because if they weren't in comms, that could be a big reason
Then
why they
why?
performed like they did.
Yeah.
Because I said this, or Sammy, me and you said this in one of our prior conversations. communication is going to be a big part of this tournament.
Yeah,
So
we
if you
did.
have people that aren't communicating, it will hurt your team a lot.
Yes, it will.
And and just with um so yes, and just to add on to the communication part, and I said this before, but Falcon is a player that was never in like the comms.
Yeah.
He was never in the disco. Like he was in the calls, but he wasn't like he was usually muted up. But he said it out his own mouth that this world being in this World Cup, he knew he had to be on the comms.
Yeah.
And when he got on the he's he said, man, and this was literally right after our match. You know, we were all talking and stuff. He was like, man, if I'm glad I chose now to get on the mic, because if I didn't get on the mic, things would have been a lot worse. And I agree, because everybody being on comms is really important. That's how you communicate your positioning,
Yep.
you know, the plan, what's going on, you know, the play by play. You know, if somebody leaves stuff in the back, you know,
Mm-hmm.
how are you gonna how are you gonna communicate with your teammates
I,
that you left like bombs and stuff in the back?
I have a lot to say
Like,
about that in my race. Don't even get me started.
oh yeah, yeah. Hey, trust me, I knew it was coming, man. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about in your race too. But you know, that's it seems it potentially could have raised its ugly head in the UK versus EU matchup.
Yeah,
So, you know, it's communication is very important. So, if
most
you got
definitely.
somebody that's not on the mic, try your best to see if they can get on the mic. If they can't get on the mic, you know, your team is gonna have to find a way to play around that. So,
Yeah,
you know, you're definitely gonna be at a disadvantage if
disadvantage.
you're going against a team
That
with
already
everybody
on the mic.
is on the mic. So, you know, that's one of the beauties of this tournament, man. It's a team game, man. So
It
like
definitely is.
every it, all of the factors matter, like skill, knowledge, communication, team synergy, team composition,
Yep.
planning, practicing, strategizing. Like this this is why this tournament is so difficult, because you need so many things in order
Besides
to
skill.
progress. Yes. And you know, it's even if you have and this just goes to show, even if you have great players on your team, the lack of other things could tarnish the results of your team and the
Yep.
performance. So, you know, you just want to try to have everything in check as much as you can. Now, me saying everything I said about the part of the storm, if you're listening to this, bro, and just anybody else that's listening, even though everything that happened in that match happened, one of the I did, you know, I personally hit him up and messaged him, and I told him, you know, try not to quit and to keep his head up and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because honestly, he's a great player, and I feel like it would be a disservice and a disjustice
To his name and his
to
skill.
his, not only that, but his team too, because
Yep.
we all signed up for this as a team.
Yep.
So you don't want to come into this race. You don't want to come into this, and the second things go bad, you want to back out.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it doesn't look good for your character. It doesn't look good as a person. You know, it doesn't look good on your team, because it shows that it could show that maybe they're like unorganized
or
and
not united.
people might have the, yeah, people will have that perception that y'all are not united or, you know, as tight forward as a team.
And worse, if I can add on to that, if you show blemishes like this in a competitive stage, I'm not saying there are people like this, but there might be other teams that will look into that and see that how can we take advantage of that
Mm-hmm.
and use that for
That's,
their betterment to place better in the weeks that they have to race against you.
yep. That's a, and I'm glad you brought up that point because that's a really, you made a really good point right there. If teams know that about the dysfunction that happened with the team and, the part of Storm's mind state on if he doesn't perform well,
Yeah.
they can hone in on that and target you. And
Yep.
if they feel like if the second you're not performing good, if you just want to hang it up or your confidence is shot, your team is screwed. And mind you, this
Mm-hmm.
was only the first round. We still got
Four more
way more. We still got like four more. And that's like not even counting if your team,
makes it to the knockout
makes
rounds.
it out. Yeah. So that's definitely something they'd want to get in check. I guess if I were to, you know, sp- spread some light, there's still a lot more races to go. That's
Definitely.
why, we talk to our team, communicate, practice and stuff because you can always make things get better.
Yeah.
You know, if the party didn't feel comfortable on Speedstorm, on not Speedstorm, Speedster, just put them on. Talk with the team, see if he could
Anyone wants to
perform
switch.
better on another class. Yeah, like have practice sessions, see what works for your team, and like I said, I'm not preparing as if they're gonna come against my team like they did this past week. I'm preparing like they have everything under control.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't want to get caught slipping because I do think United Kingdom is a very strong team. So yeah, but yeah, those are those are my thoughts on EU versus United Kingdom. Man, Maxi obviously, Seth Morales, everybody that was on EU performed great.
Yep.
They seemed like they had communication on lockdown, so they're still a threat, and it looks like they will be for the foreseeable future for the tournament. So definitely got to prepare for that team. I think everybody should, but you know, definitely focus on the team ahead of you first. And uh, Sammy, do you have any last things to say about this matchup?
I would say the truth with this race would be even though you enter as an individual and you're on a team, you're not an individual. This isn't like a 1v7. This is a 4v4. So as we did like talk about it earlier, like it's most important that you know you ingratiate yourself with your team. You communicate, you try and make friends, you try and go out of your way to talk to people you normally have never talked to before because it's the only way you'll get better as a group, familiarize yourselves with one another, and learn what you're good at, what you're weak at, vice versa. And I was gonna touch on this a bit earlier, but we kind of moved past it. But if you don't have a mic, well, there's not much we can say about that. Is if you can try and get one because if you do have a mic and you just choose not to use it, you know, you're doing your team a disservice because you're not helping your team get in a better position by being able to coordinate what's happening on screen so you guys can avoid getting friendly fire or just heads up on what you guys need to do. Like Like
Mhm.
Nano said earlier, if just one person is not on comms, that's a whole question mark you have to worry about because granted, you can only worry about what your team's doing on the screen. There's four other racers that you're not on comms with that you have to try and avoid all their stuff on screen. So if you just add one more element to that, it can become kind of chaotic, depending on what class you're racing with, especially a speedster.
Mhm.
But if I had any words for Departed, I don't know him at all. But my words would be, don't give up. This is uh this is something where you're coming in as a group, as a collective. You are racing for Team United Kingdom, so have some pride for your country, and also don't feel down about yourself because one, like we stated earlier, the speedster class is gonna have it the worst the entire tournament. So you're not the only one who
Mhm.
might perform bad. And just take it a race at a time. If you really need to, if you have the amount of racers on your team, ask for a sub if you feel like you need one. And when you feel like you can get back in the groove of things, ask to get sub back in. Really take advantage of the tools that are given to you. Because in an example right here, for Team Canada, there's only 4 people on this team. I cannot ask for a sub if I need one. I have to sit there and
Yep.
race. So you already have an advantage being able to reach out to another teammate to take your spot if you need it. All there is you got to do is just ask. But I'm pretty sure this team will bounce back this week. You know, you got your hands full with this one, Nano.
Mhm. Hopefully they bounce back next week. Nah, but I was playing with that one, but nah, they I definitely think they're gonna bounce back and be stronger than you know they were last week, man. So, like I said, I'm preparing for a new and improved version of this team.
Yep.
I think they're gonna definitely add pressure to us and trust and believe my team is not sleeping because United Kingdom is definitely strong enough to where they could take a win off of us. And right now, every win matters, and we need as much wins as we could get. So at least for USA, we're definitely gonna try our hardest to make sure they don't get that W on us. But like I said, they're a strong team. I got faith in them. They got strong players. If they set up the communication right, put in the work, then they'll be where they need to be at.
That is true. In terms of points total, who had the most points, I believe it was wow.
I think it was has.
No, in terms of the entire race, I believe
Oh,
it's
I think it was Maxi.
it's either between Maxi or Sofralis. So shout outs to both of them for keeping their team afloat.
Hmm.
And the rest of you guys, it's not easy. So the fact that you guys put on a good show, regardless of how the party may have felt, he still participated because it wasn't every race he came last. So there's that. So definitely pat yourself on the back because it's only going to get tougher here on out.
Thanks for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you at the next one.